Hello and welcome to Champion Reviews. I'm Joe, here with me is my co-host Dan.
Hello and greetings.
We are reviewing the first Make-A-Wish episode, because it's a two-parter. And this episode was actually interesting. At the beginning, you have a science fair as Otto Octavius' former lab partner. I don't know what his name is. It doesn't really matter. The guy who really came up with a lot of the research stuff in regards to using techno lasers and a lot of the energy systems and whatnot. So basically, the guy who did 80% of Otto's work, is doing a demonstration because Otto stole his notes years prior when he ran off in disgrace. And this guy recreated his research and has used it to build a laser that he hopes to use to... Now, he could set what the target is with this laser to only cut that. Now, he said, I'm going to cut inorganic matter. But then he talks about, imagine if we could use this without having to cut a human body open during an operation, and we could cut out tumors and whatnot from within the body and the brain and whatnot without damaging anything except the tumor or even cancerous cells. Basically taking the neogenic recombinator and taking 15 leaps forward. And what is interesting about this is that I think Connors would be excited about the possibilities here because it could probably purge him of his lizard DNA.
Oh, yeah.
This guy just beat the competition, it seems. But Otto interferes, claiming it's really his work when it isn't, and ends up starting a fight. Now you have various people, such as investors. Anastasia Hardy is involved in some of the funding here. It's a Hardy Foundation thing, but from what I can see, this looks more like Tony Stark's work. Because Stark does exist in this universe, and he's the sort of person who wanted to do nothing but fund medical equipment and whatnot after his disastrous career as a arms dealer. And remember, his goal is to fund medical stuff and research to atone for all the lives he's taken. Because that's the kind of person Tony Stark became. Anastasia Hardy is too much of a... Well, she is a gangster, and I just find it like, okay, what's her angle? But then after a few minutes, I was like, oh, this is just good publicity.
Yeah.
It's a publicity stunt. She doesn't actually care about it.
She's just investing it.
Yeah, because good public image. Her daughter's there because Felicia's there to support mom. Hey, Felicia's not aware of half the nasty stuff Anastasia's doing, like arms dealing, the Oscorp nuclear plant and research. Bear in mind, that comes up later in season 3. And Anastasia Hardy is absolutely, her hands are completely in that pie, more than even Norman. She's evil. I don't know what other word to use. She's evil. Especially given her funding of Doc Ock, her funding of,
yeah.
You get the idea. But the thing is, Doc Ock ends up being cowed after Spider-Man severs 2 of his limbs. His inorganic limbs, I should specify. He grabs various people. Apparently, MJ was there because she was just into the science, which... That's a nice nod to the comics where she is a science geek, like Peter. So I'm glad that John Semper's reorienting the story, MJ towards being more comic book MJ. It's nice of him to finally do that. I like her comment. Do something, Spider-Man. He's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, a little.
Yeah. Then Doc Ock crawls out, but goes to tear off a part of the roof and chuck it after the people because he's pissed. Anastasia Hardy complains that Spider-Man should have let him go and shouldn't even have started this fight. Now, what's funny is, she was fully on board with leaving the one scientist to die. No, that is implied in the dialogue. So, she's trash.
And this episode doesn't show Jonah in the best light either.
Because he's human waste too. Which is fairly apt to the comics. He's only ever done one good deed in his life. And that was his raising of John Jameson, who's a million times the man he'll ever be. I'm just saying, Jonah's not a good person. John is.
Yeah.
But John modeled himself emotionally after his uncle and godfather, Robbie Robertson, which there is no one better he could have modeled himself after, because Robbie rocks.
Yeah.
Robbie's the one who gives Peter the fan mail to the girl who has the Make-A-Wish Foundation wish to meet Spider-Man. And the thing is, Robbie intends it because, well, I guess Spider-Man could use some cheering up after Jonah and Anastasia pinned this entire mess on him when everything with Doc Ock is entirely Anastasia's fault. I'm just saying, she's the one who hounded him out of the science community because why not? When her investments in him didn't turn a profit. Hey, I'm just saying, let's point the finger also at her. Hey, I'm just saying, she helped create Green Goblin and Hobgoblin with some of her funny to Oscorp. Green Goblin and Doc Ock. Great track record.
Yeah.
Oh, and by Funny Norman, also Vulture. So, this is an amazing track record on her part. She's a psycho. And an incompetent.
And yet Felicia's dad is the cleaner one.
Yeah, and he's the, he's a terrorist and gangster and thief. Like, man, Felicia sure is screwed with these parents. Then you've got the girl, though, takes an interest in Spider-Man himself. But Spider-Man meets Madame Web along the way, who tells him, you know what, I'm getting sick of your self-pitying crap. And she gives him an interesting tarot card, which is the Sun Supreme thing, and it's the Supreme Trump card, which is one of the most powerful in the tarot decks.
Mm-hmm.
And the sun foretells what, Dan?
The meaning is the card portends good fortune, happiness, joy, and harmony. It represents the universe coming together and agreeing with your path and aiding forward movement into something greater. Held upright, the card represents enlightenment, joy, marriage, material happiness, success, and vitality.
Which, real quick, all of that comes true in the next season and a half. Well, the next 2 seasons for Peter Parker. So it's a good. It's a very. It is a very apt card that Webb gives him.
And the reversed upside down meaning is false impressions, lack of clarity, low vitality, and sadness.
Also true. Because Peter currently has low emotional vitality. But overall there's a lot of sadness in the future, but that's part and parcel of life, and even good fortune. There's happiness and there's sadness. They're interlinked.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't have one without the other to a limited extent.
Exactly.
And it's very fascinating here, because the tarot card, they clearly knew all this, and it's very brilliant on the author's part.
I couldn't help but check it out, because...
And here's the thing, it's about halfway. No, she puts it, sideways. And then she puts it facing her, then Spider-Man grabs it, and it's facing him. Well, actually, she throws it at him. So, it ends up in all 3 positions.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that. That was interesting. Now, the little girl asks Spider-Man how he became Spider-Man because one of her friends got him confused with Superman, which was also playing at the time, which is funny, because Dan pointed out it was playing at the time as well. But the thing is, Spider-Man explains, I originally thought I could, there's the backstory. I originally thought I could use it to earn big bucks because, you ended up asking Liz Allen out. It didn't go well. Liz was a bit of a bully, but she's repented since then. Because remember, she's pretty chummy with Peter in the first 2 seasons.
School.
Yeah, nobody cares about high school. I'm just saying, nobody genuinely deep down cares about the bad stuff that happened back then. The good stuff always outweighs the bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to high school. And you got... and so long ago, who cares eventually? But then you get Peter, who thought he could use his powers for big bucks and for his own gain. First with magic shows. And he felt he was prostituting his skills. Then he was invited by an agent into wrestling. And he thought, okay, I'll use my muscles now. But then, he let the one guy go. Uncle Ben paid the price during a break-in. And Peter learned that with great power, there must always come great responsibility. And of course, he passes this lesson on to this little girl before he takes her on a joyride. And of course, meanwhile, now Otto isn't content with stealing the research of his former partner that he was an assistant for. Now, he says the other guy was his assistant, but it's implied it was more the reverse. And he steals Smythe's research, notably one of the spider tracker robots, and uses it for a miniature spider slayer that is nowhere near as badass or mighty as the the real spider slayers. And so he could only, the impression I found here was that it was very fascinating. Otto can only get by stealing little bits and pieces of others' research. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, he deludes himself into believing he's improving it when really he's making it more pitiful and pathetic.
There's only one thing in this episode that I guess might be sort of kind of his work, and that's the tiara thing to control the
robot.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it doesn't have anywhere near the firepower of the Mega Slayer or the 3 Spider Slayers attached together.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now, let's rate this episode. How would you rate it? I like that we got the backstory. I like that we finally got to meet this cosmic level Madame Web, which is way better than the comic book one. Mm-hmm. Way better. And she's also voiced by Stan Lee's then wife, because she's died since then. And her death broke Stan, sadly. But she is an amazing voice actress, one of the best in the show, and that's impressive. Because this show has great voice actors.
Yeah,
I love her in this show.
And then we've got part of one good story arc from the comics, which we'll see the rest of it in the next episode.
Yep. Now let's rate this episode.
I will say a 3.
I will say a 3.5. I really like this episode.
Yeah.
It was a great one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't... It's hard to improve on it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Now, I find it's no Man-Spider episode. Sorry, that's always going to be the epitome, along with the Venom Saga.
Yeah.
Those are the best episodes almost. But, well, the Man-Spider pretty much is, in my opinion. But this episode rehashes the Uncle Ben backstory like the Neogenic Nightmare did. Or Mutagenic Nightmare did, but it's still a great episode. And I like that we got more detail about the backstory. And this is such a good opener for this season. So anyways, tell us what you think of it. And like, share, subscribe, and leave any other kind of comment. And if you didn't like this episode, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. I can't stop cracking that joke.